Have you ever been pleading for an insight from God, only to suddenly feel like you've been struck by lightning when a friend, a mentor, or a pastor share the exact answer you've been begging for? Perhaps you've been asking, does God speak through other people? Because maybe you're looking for the answer from God, but all you're getting is a phone call from a friend or a sentence in a Sunday sermon. Well, take heart, you're in the right place. By the end of today's episode, you will understand how to widen your lens and recognize when God at times uses human mouthpieces to deliver your miracle. We're going to help you solve the feeling of being ignored by sharing my own 2x4 moment with a hit over the head after an autism diagnosis, and a biblical story of a woman whose life was changed and answered through God's messenger. We're moving from I need a sign to I see his messengers. Stay tuned. Ordinary women, extraordinary faith. When God calls, we say yes. Hello and welcome to another episode of the Arise Women of God podcast. I'm your host, Tamara K. Anderson, and joining me today is the wonderful Wendi Christensen, my co-founder of Women Warriors of Light. And today we're exploring the human relay system of heaven. In Psalm 62:8, we are told to trust in him at all times. Ye people, pour out your hearts before him. But we often forget that once we pour out our hearts, God often pours the answer back through the lives of those around us. First, I'm going to share my but if not journey, the day a sermon changed my heart about my children's diagnosis of autism. Second, I'll tell the story of Elijah and the widow of Zarephath, how God used a prophet to bring a dead son back to life. And third, we'll hear a relatable clip from Wendi and how she sometimes needs a spiritual bat to get the message. And finally, we're going to look at the fruit check from our roadmap to verify these messages. Years ago, when my children were diagnosed with autism, I was in a demand mode in my communications with God. I had so much faith. I knew God could heal them and that he would heal them. And I refused to consider any other option. I was certain that if I just prayed hard enough and long enough, the diagnosis would disappear and my sons would be healed. And this went on for years, guys. Years and years, I was in denial. Here's the problem. I wasn't finding any peace. I was finding exhaustion as I banged on the doors of heaven. And the answer came through a sermon I listened to one day, where the speaker shared the story of Shadrach, Meshach, and Abednego from Daniel chapter 3. He quoted verse 18, which says, "But if not, be it known unto thee, O king, that we will not serve thy gods, nor worship the golden image which thou hast set up." Shadrach, Meshach, and Abednego were telling God right here that they were not going to kneel down and pray to this golden image. And they knew God could save him, but perhaps he wouldn't, and they would still believe in him. That phrase, but if not, hit me like a 2x4 across the top of my head. I realized that the but if not clause is a sign of true faith, and I wasn't there yet. I wasn't okay if my boys weren't healed, but I knew that I needed to have greater and truer faith so that I could get there. Before the end of the sermon closed out, this man said another phrase that was like lightning straight to my soul. He said, "God has the power, but it's our test." Ooh. God was speaking directly to me. It wasn't the answer that I wanted, but it was the message that I needed. After banging on the doors of heaven for so many years, it took time and effort and energy to ask God to plant the desire to change in my heart, to build greater and truer faith so that I could truly say, "Thy will be done." That man was God's mouthpiece to me to start the process. We see the same pattern in 1 Kings chapter 17. The widow of Zarephath had already seen a beautiful miracle during the famine after she fed the prophet Elijah. But then the unthinkable happened. Her son died. And in her grief, she turned to the prophet Elijah almost accusingly and said, "What have I to do with thee, O thou man of God?" She was in the dark. She felt abandoned. But God didn't send a voice from the heavens or clouds to the window. He sent the power of God through his prophet Elijah. Elijah took the boy and laid him on his own bed and cried out to the Lord. The scriptures teach us that God hearkened unto the voice of Elijah, and the soul of the child came into him again. God chose to use a human prophet to deliver the most profound answer to a mother's prayer. Sometimes your Elijah may be a mentor, a pastor, or a friend who has the faith to pray the prayer you're currently too broken to even whisper. I don't know about you, but sometimes I have felt like that widow, caught up in the messy of my life, and I've needed a human voice to ground me. Wendi has a great take on why God has to use people to beat us over the head sometimes.
And it's okay. We're all learning and growing. I mean, we're his children. He knows that we're in a learning process. I wouldn't get mad at my kids if, how many times do I give them directions or say things and they don't hear me or they don't listen or they get lost in the instruction, right? I have to be patient as a mom with them. And God is he's perfect. So he gets it. He understands that, hey, she might not get this, or wow, I've really been beating her over the head with a bat and she's still not getting it. Like, he's not like that. He's like, okay, it's taking her some time to learn to recognize me and to hear my voice. And that's okay. I'll keep giving her information. I'll keep letting her know. I'll keep tapping and knowing that that's not going to ever quit. He's not going to walk out and go, "Oh, I'm done. She never hears me. I'm walking away." Right? It's like she just is not cluing in. He's never going to be like that. And I think if you can remember, he really is an all-loving God that will constantly be giving you information, constantly being like, I'm here, I'm prompting you. Hey, can you hear me? I'm here, I'm listening, and I'm also giving you direction. If we could just remember that, I think that would help, and being patient with ourselves and hearing him, because sometimes it is easier and other days it's hard. It doesn't have to be perfect. God meets you in the messy, and he loves you in the messy, and you can hear him even in the messy. If you just open up to him, you will start seeing how he talks to you.
So, my friends, God is still using his children to rescue other children. If a friend says something that seems to hit you on the top of the head, or a sermon gives you a but if not moment, don't dismiss it as a coincidence. That is step one of our divine roadmap to revelation. Starting where you are. And if you want to start recognizing the messengers in your own life and tuning into the knowing, we want to give you this downloadable PDF for free. You can also listen to the audio meditation by Wendi that helps you prepare to receive light and revelation from God, casting out darkness, bringing in light. It's a powerful meditation, and I always feel so much better after doing it and feel like I can hear God more clearly. You can download the Roadmap to Revelation and this audio meditation free at the link below. But there's one other thing I want to point out, and it's found in step 5 of this Roadmap to Revelation, which is safety checks to filter what you're getting. The first thing you need to ask when you feel an answer is coming from someone, you need to ask, does this answer align with the Word of God? Because God isn't going to give you something that doesn't align with His Word. The second test is, does it bring the fruit of the Spirit, as described in Galatians? Do you feel love, joy, and peace when you feel that answer? If the answer is yes, then God is speaking through them. Of course, you can always ask and say, God, is this message that I just received from you? And if you feel the peace confirming it, that is another verification. And if you're struggling to accept a no answer, use the evening review in step 6 to find 3 small ways God did show up today in your life, even if the big miracle is still in the but if not phase. So, my friends, God is closer than you think. Often, He's standing in the shoes of the person right next to you. He loves you. He sees you, and He will answer your banging on the doors of heaven. Of this I can testify. Until next time, may you arise, do it God's way, God strong. If today's episode helped you feel a little closer to God, please like and subscribe. It helps us grow and ensures Heaven's whispers stay at the top of your feed whenever you need them most.